So my wife and I have almost always, have had problems sleeping, getting up in the middle of the night, not sleeping throughout the entire night. And it's not just to go up to go to the bathroom either, but sometimes we just like can't fall asleep, or we'll wake up at 3 in the morning and I can't fall asleep. And I've been doing a little research on this issue that many people have. And I mean, it could be a lot of things, but it could be this here also. So, doing a little research, I've realized that CO2 levels in your room where you sleep, or in your house in general, really, is very important. You want your CO2 levels low. Okay. So, I went and purchased a CO2 meter. It's carbon dioxide meter. Okay, not monoxide. This is dioxide. And what we're what we're measuring is our carbon dioxide, which you breathe out. So if you're in a room and you're breathing, as we all do, you're adding carbon dioxide to that room. And it keeps building up, building up, and building up without you even knowing it. And that could be a big issue when you're trying to fall asleep, sleeping throughout the night. Let me show you some symptoms here that most people get, and we've gotten it. My wife especially, if your CO2 levels are too high in your room. So what are the health effects of high CO2 levels? Well, we get here headaches. Increased CO2 levels lead to headaches, dizziness, feeling of discomfort, fatigue. You feel sluggishness and reduced productivity, reduced cognitive function. Prolonged exposure to elevated CO2 levels may impair cognitive function and decision making. Yeah, decision making. It's very important. Shortness of breath. I've experienced this also. Irritation, irritated eyes, nose, throat can occur resembling allergy symptoms. My wife has had that big time in the past. Long-term health risk could be chronic exposure to high CO2 levels may contribute to respiratory conditions and cardiovascular problems. So here it talks about identifying and addressing high CO2 levels. Usually you'll have the grogginess is most noticeable effects of poor air quality. Is feeling usually tired, sluggish upon waking, even after a full night's sleep. So grogginess is one. Headaches. This is one my wife had all the time. Headaches, high CO2 concentrations can cause headaches as the body attempts to compensate for the lack of oxygen, leads to tension and discomfort, particularly around the temples and the forehead. Poor concentration. That was me, big time. So elevated CO2 levels can affect cognitive function, making it harder to concentrate and think clearly in the morning. Big time. Yeah. So it tells you how to fix it. The problem is so easy to fix. Okay, all we have to do is air out the house. So crack the windows open, air out the house once in a while. So if you go in a room, the air is stale and feels stuffy in there, and you know the CO2 levels are probably pretty high. Difficulty breathing. Extreme cases, individuals may notice that it feels harder to breathe or that they wake up feeling short of breath. That was me. I'd wake up in the morning, or if I have to get up and go to the bathroom, and I'd feel like I'm struggling to get air. You know, I just can't get enough oxygen in me. So this was a big one for me. Okay, so what are the recommended CO2 levels for indoor spaces? 350 to 450 is usually the outdoor air. That in that range, that's perfect, and that's usually what it is outside. Indoor, they're saying 450 to 600 is excellent, which I agree. 100% is really good, and you can achieve that if you're able to keep your windows open most of the time, weather permitting, of course. 600 to 1,000 acceptable. I would also agree, and also above 1,000. I would say above 1,500 is where you have to start being concerned, okay, of health issues. So as you can see, that mine was at 1800. It went down to about 1700 now. That's parts per million of CO2, carbon dioxide, in this space. So we here are, I am, I am here in my storage building. And in my storage building, I work out. I have a home gym, and I work out a lot in here. And so the CO2 levels here are pretty high because, you're always huffing and puffing when you're working out. Plus, my dogs like staying with me here and watching me and just being with me. So that adds to the air in the building or in a room or wherever you're at. The smaller the room, the quicker it builds up the CO2. The key here is if you can open any window. Now, here in Texas, we average, upper 90s, low 100s every day, okay, in the summer. So it's difficult to open windows all the time. What we try to do, since I've gotten this, what we try to do is in the evening, when it cools down to like low 80s, we'll open the windows. We'll open a window on one side of the house and open a window on the other side of the house so we can get some kind of cross air going. In the evening, we do that. We do that maybe 2-3 hours before we go to, maybe 2 hours before we go to bed. Sometimes I'll get a box fan, put that in the window and either blow air in or have it suck air, the house air out of that window, depending which way the wind is actually blowing outside. So you want to clear out the old air in the house, the old CO2 that's in the house, and get some fresh air in the house. That's why people sleep so well at night, especially when it's cooler temperatures with the windows cracked open, because you're getting rid of that CO2. So getting one of these is super duper important, I think. I knew nothing about this. But when I used to bodybuild years ago, I used to always think about this, about getting fresh air in the gym. You go into this gym. There's no open windows anywhere. It's just they got the glass windows, of course, but there's no air circulation. You got men and women in there working their butts off, breathing, huffing and puffing. They got the AC going. The AC is just recirculating the air. That's all it's doing. So I would love to bring one of these in a gym. Just put it in your gym bag or your pocket or something. And then as you're working out, leave it out somewhere, near a bench or something, or on the floor or whatever. And have it check the CO2 levels in that gym. I bet you they are astronomical. They must be really high in there. If they can find a way to exchange the air in there through the AC system, but that's they're wasting a lot of electricity and they don't want to do that, So, but again, it depends on where you're at. Here in the South, it's difficult in the summertime to get any kind of fresh air because it is hot, just plain and simple hot, and the humidity is through the roof. In this building, you can see it's around 1700. It was 1800 earlier. It must be like in pockets around, depending where you're at. There's no breeze in here, really. But it's dangerously high here in this building. And I've noticed that in my workouts too. I've been kind of feeling like sluggish and I don't know, kind of like I'm doing my sets, and then I get to near the end of my set, and it's like I feel like crap. That could be it. But as far as sleep, let me show you some levels that I took in the house, in my bedroom. So these were the levels in our bedroom upon awakening, and they were just above 1900. That is not good. I'm sure it's been higher in the past because, like I said, I've had moments where I wake up at night and I was short of breath. Remember, it's my wife and I and our 2 dogs sleeping in there in the bedroom. So the CO2 levels will get pretty high. So now after airing out the house, we are looking at 566 in the morning, and that is excellent. All right, so to calibrate this meter, bring it outside. I would bring it outside for at least 5 minutes. I kind of swing it back and forth to kind of air it out, get the air going through the unit. So after the unit's been outside for about 5 minutes, put it down somewhere, push down the 2 top buttons at the same time until you see 200 and let them go. And it'll count down 200 seconds. When it's done counting down, it'll be recalibrated. And when it reaches 0, it should be completely recalibrated. So the functionality of this is pretty much once you calibrate it, it's set and forget pretty much. But on the top here, you're going to have, you have 2 buttons. You have a on and off switch, and then you have your settings here. The only thing the settings do, if you watch where it says at A, it turns into economy, back to A again. That A represents performance mode. That takes a reading every minute is what it does. So see, it just changed. It takes a reading every minute. I'm breathing out right now, and it's going into these vent holes right here. So it's going up. And if you put it on economy mode, it takes a reading every 10 minutes. Personally, that's too long. I think put it on performance mode, and it will take a reading every minute. And to turn the unit on, up here, there is a on and off button. You just long press it to turn it on, and then you long press it to turn it back off again. And if you press the on and off switch quickly, you'll see the speaker symbol up there. Turns it on and off. So it'll beep when it gets into the yellow and into the red zones, and this will shut it off. I personally make sure it stays on like that, and it'll alert you when the levels get too high. And it's just a beeping sound, just a little beep. That's all it does. And to charge the unit, it has a USB-C plug right here. It comes with the cord, but you're gonna have to find your own little charger unit. Anyone will work. And you just plug it in there. And I've charged this thing once since I've had it, and this thing uses such little electricity you don't have to worry about it. But it'll last a long time. So guys, that is about it for this meter here. I'm going to put a link in the description under the video where you can pick this up. It is an affiliate link, and it helps us out a little bit here on the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. And pick yourself up one. There's a lot of cheaper ones. If you're searching online for these, there's a lot of cheap ones. Don't buy the ones that are like 20 bucks or, you know. This is approximately $40 right here, and it's a good meter, and it works good, and from all the reviews I've read, it's pretty accurate too. It's all you need, you know. And if you got, you know, other people in the house, if you got kids sleeping in your other bedrooms and stuff or whatever, put one in their room too. Yeah, this will really help out. It'll give you a peace of mind knowing that you got fresh air in the house. You don't have to worry about CO2 levels, and it's perfect. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video.